When it comes to the housing market, it's a roller coaster of events. We had crazy price increases during the pandemic, followed by rapid interest rate hikes that we've seen for the last year. It has definitely caught a lot of people off guard. And this has led to the housing market cooling as prices have been dropping. And throughout all this, people have been faking their incomes, faking their documents to get into homes and over leveraging themselves into homes they simply cannot afford. This is also called the Brampton loan. When I think of mortgage fraud, that's typically what I think about, that people are faking their incomes, people are faking their documents to get mortgages for homes they simply can't afford. Either they want those homes for themselves or for flipping or just to make a quick buck, either way. But there is another type of mortgage fraud that's been all over the news and it's been hitting almost every single headline, and that's called title fraud. Mortgage and title fraudsters have targeted at least 32 known properties in Ontario and BC. Now, 32 properties may not seem like a lot, but these are multi-million properties that have been targeted. So if each property, let's say it's worth $2 million, and that's 32 homes that we've know of so far, because there could be more homes that just simply haven't been uncovered yet. At 32 homes, $2 million, that's at least $64 million of fraud that has been uncovered recently in just Ontario and BC. And again, this is what's been discovered so far. There could be a whole host of mortgage and title fraud rings that are happening right now that people just haven't uncovered yet. Well, you have to understand that the people that are doing this type of fraud, it's a group of people. This is very targeted, very process oriented. They almost have this down to a science because it takes a very particular process in terms of sequence of events to make all this fraud work. For example, recently in the news, a Toronto condo owner discovered that her two-bedroom downtown property had been listed and sold in 2021 for $970,000 by someone using her name. That's crazy. Her property was sold without her knowing about it because someone was using her name. Now that property's title actually shows someone else as the owner. This is still currently being investigated. The fraud happened back in 2021, and here we are in 2023 and still under investigation where the property's owner is unknown. According to reports, this type of fraud used to be very, very rare, but now it's becoming more common. It's just another way people are trying to squeeze as much money out of our housing market. First we had investors, we've had flippers, and now we have scammers, all trying to make a quick buck and taking advantage of the roller coaster ride that is our housing market. Everyone wants to make a quick buck because everybody knows that real estate is a multi-billion-dollar game, and everybody wants their share, and they want their share as quickly as possible. So how does all this title fraud work? Well, here's what we know so far. First, actors are hired and they are paid anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 per property to act as the owners of the property who are seeking a very quick and motivated sale for that property to go on the market. And all this is happening without the actual owner of the property knowing that their property is now on the market. What they'll do is they'll present all these forged documents such as fake passports of the original owner to realtors who then help put that property on the market. And this type of title and mortgage fraud typically involve homes that have either zero mortgage or very low mortgage balances. Now, I know many of you first-time hopeful buyers who are watching this are probably thinking, I would just love to even have a mortgage on any property at this point in time. But that's just our market. That's just how our housing market works. It's a roller coaster. It's between those who have and those who don't. Another example is in Ontario with a home that was worth $2.2 million. Here's what happened. The true owners of this property had moved to the UK and they put their home in Ontario up for rent. This was rented by fraudsters who then impersonated to be the owners of the property and then went ahead and sold this property for $1.7 million within 2 weeks of renting out that property. That's bonkers. Just imagine you go somewhere and you're putting up your property on rent and you have no idea what's happening. Someone moves in, they occupy your home, they pretend to be owners, and they sell your property without you even knowing what's happening, and they make off with the money. And I'm just thinking that if we had normal homes that are worth maybe normal prices, like for example, a home was worth 200K, 300K, maybe people wouldn't be as motivated because it's not a whole whack of money, right? 200, 300K in the grand scheme of things. But when each home, each normal home is worth $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, that is a lot of money. That is a lifetime worth of money. Even if you just do one fraud, you are set for life. You can move to Southeast Asia and just live like a king. That's the state of our housing market. It's motivating a lot of people to go the wrong path because it's been tight. It's been hard. According to reports, the fraudsters who are working these rings, these guys are professionals. They fake the ID so good that unless you're a super trained professional, you can't even tell that the ID you're looking at is fake. That's how good they are. So what can you do to prevent this from happening? Well, first and foremost, you need to protect your personal information like it's gold. If you're going to be showing off your life on social media, from everything on where you're eating, what you're eating, where you're going, where you're vacationing, the times you're out of the country, the times you're not at home, all this information you're putting out there, all that information can and will be used against you because it's all now public information as soon as it goes up on your social media feed. When you're getting rid of banking documents, when you're getting rid of old bills, there's a lot of sensitive information on those documents. What can you do? You make sure you shred those documents because you don't want your bank account number, you don't want your name, your address, your birth date, your social insurance number, all that information just floating out there to be used against you. The other thing you can do is sign up for electronic documentation so you're not worried about having to throw away actual documents in the garbage for that information to be used against you. And let's say you have a paid off home or are going to be putting your home on the market for rent. And let's say it's not your local market. So in the case of that UK example, that you're moving somewhere and you're going to be putting your home on for rent. In that case, you should request an alert on title activity on that property. So when, for example, someone trying to place a mortgage on a property, at least you're notified. I get it, the promise of easy money in real estate is hard to resist, especially in today's economy when inflation is so high, housing supply is low, and you just want a shelter for your home. That easy money can be hard to resist. And consumers who are knowingly misrepresenting information can find themselves becoming accomplices to mortgage fraud. So how can you tell what is mortgage fraud? Let's define that. Mortgage fraud is essentially misrepresenting your information to get a mortgage that you would not be eligible for if the truth had been known. And mortgage fraud can take many forms, such as lying about where you work, how much you make, or how long you've worked there. You could be lying about being a full-time employee when you're clearly not. You could be lying about the source of your down payment, where that money came from, claiming that the place you rent is a property that you own, not disclosing all your debts, or omitting information that falsely increases the value of your property. All these are just examples of what mortgage fraud can be. This is not an exhaustive list, but at least it gives an idea that it's not just one thing or the other. It's not just faking your income. It's not just faking documents. There's a lot of forms of mortgage fraud, and there are serious consequences if you are found guilty of mortgage fraud. Now let's talk about the flip side. How can you protect yourself from mortgage fraud? Don't add your name to another person's mortgage unless you plan on making payments on it. Don't sign papers that you clearly don't understand what you're actually signing. If you make a deposit on a home, don't give it directly to the seller. Make sure it's held in trust by the seller's lawyer. Before you buy a property, get its sales history through the land titles office or consider getting it inspected and appraised. Always know who you're doing business with and what that business even is. Last but not least, make sure you're dealing with licensed and accredited mortgage agents. Again, this is not meant to be an exhaustive list, but at least give you some ideas, some layers of defense on how to protect yourself from mortgage fraud. At the end of the day, you want to be really cautious when someone approaches you and they're offering you to make easy money on real estate. If the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if you're new to Canada or if you're a new prospective first-time buyer, I really want you to pay attention to this part right here. When it comes to buying a home in Canada, your current income status does affect your ability to apply for a mortgage. And when you are applying for a mortgage, you have to be completely honest, transparent, and forthcoming with your lender about your current income status. The mortgage application process in Canada or just in your province, it is regulated. It's not just willy-nilly apply for a mortgage. For example, in Ontario, FSRA, which is the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario, is the regulatory body that actually regulates mortgages. And there should be no surprise that this regulatory body, when it comes to mortgages, clearly wants you to be honest and transparent when you are applying for a mortgage, that you are giving your lender all the information they need that is clear, accurate, and transparent in order to approve you for a mortgage. To qualify for a mortgage, you have to provide your mortgage broker or your lender with a proof of your employment, your debts, and your assets. If you are knowingly misrepresenting your information as part of the mortgage application process, that is 100% mortgage fraud, and the consequences can be severe. It doesn't matter if you're the one submitting your paperwork or if it's your lawyer, your real estate agent, your real estate broker. It doesn't matter who is submitting the paperwork as part of that process. It cannot be fake. It cannot be misrepresenting the truth. Because if you knowingly misrepresent information, not only does it impact you, but it's going to impact everyone you work with that's part of this mortgage process. If a registered broker or a salesperson has knowingly participated in mortgage fraud on behalf of a client, they will be disciplined and their license and registration will be revoked. Not only can you face legal repercussions for using fake income, past income, or fake documents as part of the mortgage application process, but you can also implicate the professionals who are helping you with the mortgage process, such as your lender, such as your real estate agent, the broker. You are putting a lot of people at risk for misrepresenting your information, not only yourself, but the people you are working with. This may be a cliche, but honesty is the best policy. Be honest with your salesperson. Be honest with your mortgage broker, especially when it comes to your income. You don't want to fake anything about yourself when it comes to getting mortgage approval as part of the process. And sure, it may delay the hunt because you may not have the right income to buy the home you want, but at least when you are ready to purchase, you'll be on sound legal and financial footing. When it comes to today's housing market, there is evidence of paused development projects. People are hesitant to buy and sell homes. There are plenty of concerns around the economy and where it goes next. But yet people are still migrating to Metro Vancouver. People are still migrating to Toronto and Canada as a whole. This has added a lot of pressure on housing inventory, on housing prices, and there is plenty of frustration go around, and you have the right to be frustrated. Incomes have been stagnant, inflation is crazy high, the cost of living is almost unbearable, and this pressure may lead you to thinking that, you know what, I'm just going to get an alternative form of arrangement just so I can get into the housing market. But that's a very dangerous and slippery road. You don't want to get pressured into that path. Mortgage fraud is clearly not the answer. No matter if your neighbors are doing it, no matter if you know people are participating in mortgage fraud, it is not the answer. It is vital for the industry to invest in long-term solutions with patience and a willingness to take bold actions to make sure that we are on sound footing when it comes to housing for 2023 and beyond. We can't keep going down the same beaten path that we have been for the past decade, and that has led us to a situation of housing affordability where it feels like you have no options and people are now all of a sudden looking for alternative arrangements. So yes, that situation is grim and it sucks, but at least on the bright side, higher level of governments are now encouraging faster municipal developments. They have allocated funds to incentivize the construction of affordable homes and made policy changes to facilitate the building of denser forms of housing. And the examples of denser forms of housing include duplexes, triplexes, mid-rise buildings in urban areas, which has been typically reserved for single-family homes. Because that is the right approach. We need less single-family homes, especially in areas that are drawing a lot of immigration. You can't have that much space being occupied for that less people. You need more duplexes, triplexes. You need denser forms of housing. We need to build up, not flat. I'm glad to see that we're at least taking the steps in the right direction, that we're moving in the right approach to solve for the long-term issues of housing supply. And honestly, any initiatives that will help address the long-term solution for housing supply, it is desperately welcome. Yes, Canada's housing market is facing numerous challenges, and we need all forms of government to take bolder actions, to take bolder steps to solve for the long term. And it's not just on the government alone. We need the country's citizens, we need Canadians to make sure we are open-minded when it comes to denser housing. If we just limit ourselves that we want just single-family homes, we're not really going to go anywhere. We need to be open-minded about denser forms of housing. And I agree, we don't need more of those shoebox condos that are 500 square feet, 400 square feet, and you're trying to cram in 1-2 bedrooms. That clearly is not the answer. We need denser forms of housing that has the space for families to work, operate, and play. It has to make sense for everyone, not just cram as many people into small shoeboxes. That is clearly not the answer. Another important initiative that we can take is building new housing along corridors where there is rapid transit solutions. And if there isn't any rapid transit solutions, then we need to build rapid transit to support housing development. Because once you have housing, build the transit. They need to support one another. We need to work together to solve our housing crisis and that climate change that we're dealing with every day. These new initiatives will be essential to not only solve for the housing crisis, but also to support our environment in a sustainable way. Thank you so much for watching and showing your support and making it to the tail end of this video. I have offers for you in the description of this video for exclusive discounts and sign-up bonuses for products and services that I use on a daily basis, and I at least want you to try them out. Maybe you'll find something you like. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and thanks button on the bottom of this video. That's it for now, and I'll talk to you in the comments section.